Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Summer Aegis Marauders League 2023. We are back for another amazing season of Aegis Marauder League action. My name is Moose, and I'm joined today and for this entire split with Septi. Septi, how's it going, man?
I'm doing so good, Moose. I'm so excited to get started with AML this split. It is going to be so much fun. I personally have never casted a Masters League before. I've done a tournament, so getting to see, a higher quality of players is going to be super exciting. I honestly anticipate that I'll learn a whole lot from just watching these players play, but I don't know. I'm just excited in general.
I'm excited to be here too, coming back for another AML split. Of course, this broadcast would not be complete without the man behind the curtain, the man, the myth, the Mr. PVS coming in, being our producer for this split. Thank you for all the production staff behind the scenes who have been just actively working to make this season the best season of League of Legends esports content that Aegis Esports has ever brought out. PVS being a part of that community. So thank you so much, PVS, for doing everything behind the scenes. You might not hear his voice, but you're definitely going to be seeing the work that he's going to be putting in and week out. So, Septi, this is the first time that you and I have been able to cast together, and I really know very little about you. So why don't you give me a chance to tell me and the viewers about yourself, your League of Legends experience, what you're most excited for this split, and I guess your favorite part of League of Legends in 2023.
So, well, first of all, thank you for introducing me. Again, my name is Septi. I am a caster. I'm a player. Currently, I'm playing an APL for Nameless Echo, but I've been in the competitive scene for, I think, almost 4 years now. Started playing in, gold plat leagues. Now have moved my way up to plat diamond leagues. I was a caster for CCS as well as the Phoenix Rising League, if you're familiar with that one. But no, I am a big proponent of, draft being a super important part of the game. Yes, players are important, but I heavily lean towards draft influencing the way games go. And so if I go into a little bit of a tangent, during draft, I apologize in advance, but I'm a big meta slave as well. If if that's that's sort of who I am. You ask me to play whatever champion is meta, I'm gonna do it. But other than that, I mean, I don't know. My favorite thing is drafting and just watching people play the games out in ways that are unexpected. Namely, specific styles of comps that I think will go one way, and then surprise, surprise, it goes a completely different way. Whether it's by player performance or enemy team doing something crazy unexpected. I don't know. I'm just excited to see what these teams can pull out. I know that they're a bunch of skilled players and have a lot of experience themselves, so can't wait to see what they got.
Hell yeah, man! I love that, and I'm happy that you're here. Aegis has just been growing and growing for the last couple of seasons, and for CCS to come in and for you to come in and be part of this community as well, it's going to be a really fun split for sure. I can already tell you're bringing the energy, you're bringing the action, you're bringing the hype, and that's going to be really magnetic. So a little bit about me for you folks at home, and for you as well. I've been in esports for a while. I started playing League of Legends back in season 2, 2012, 2013. First champion I ever played was Wukong. I mean, the champion that had just come out when I started playing was Lulu. So it's been a minute of some League of Legends that I've been playing. I've peaked at platinum, but I'm almost 30 years old. I'm scuffed at this point. I'm past my prime, as some people would say.
No,
but
don't say that.
I still have fun.
It's time to hit Emerald, Moose. It's time to hit Emerald.
It's time to hit Emerald. I spent a lot of time playing Heroes of the Storm, Blizzard's MOBA back in like 2013, 2014. I was pretty good at that, and then they decided that they didn't care about the game anymore, so I went back to League of Legends. But no, love the League of Legends community as a whole. I've been casting for League of Legends since 2020. I've been a caster since about 2016 in the Smash Bros scene, but have really found my niche in MOBAs. I love the competitiveness. I love the tempo, the pacing, the excitement of anything can happen because it is such a team-oriented game. And I'm really excited for this season in particular because, like I was alluding to in my introduction, this is one of the biggest Aegis esports tournaments that they've ever had. esports in general, especially at the semi-professional masters plus level, has just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger as the seasons have progressed. And we're reaching a point now where teams are going to have the opportunity to show off what they've got and potentially make a lot of money as well. So, really glad to be invited back here for another season of AML and looking forward to seeing who's going to be able to take this win. With that being said, though, let me go over the rules really quick. Let me go over the format of this AML split for you guys. We have increased the roster. Instead of it being 28 teams, it is 32 teams vying for that first place prize. Entry fee of $100. So you know these teams are putting in a lot to try to be able to play in this. And it's going to be a pretty substantial prize pool as well, Septi. Over $2,200 for this split, about 1500, a little under 1500 for first, 560 for second, and about 170 for third and fourth. It's going to be a lot of money here today. On top of that, we've got over 14 or about 14 weeks of competitive play, 7 weeks in the group stage, 3 weeks of qualifiers, and then 4 weeks of playoffs. As we get into the group stage, it is important for these teams to be a positive record. You want to be, 4-3 or 6-2 or just 7-0, and to give yourself the opportunity to be able to have the best chance of not only going through the qualifiers, but going into the playoffs. So as we get ourselves started with this first game of the season, we got LiT Esports Red versus OME. Going to be a fun game for sure. What do you think, Septi, is what makes a master's level player? What's the difference between a master's level and a diamond level player? What's the difference between a master's level player and a grandmaster's player? And what are you looking for from these players as we get into this season?
So I'm going to start all the way back at the bottom, right? You got to start, with your iron, bronze, silver, gold. Those are the formative ranks, and those players, to expect out of them, you just expect, mechanics on maybe 1 or 2 champions, right? You expect, to be good at, their niche picks. Moving on to platinum is sort of where you get to the world where you have to start understanding, somewhat how the map is supposed to be played. You have a wider pool of champions as well as an ability to, think about the game a little bit more deeply and sort of understand why things are happening. And then that moves on. Once you understand why things are happening, you can then understand how to anticipate, how to make plays on the map. And that's when you start, moving on to diamond and you start expanding your thought process on the game and expanding, once again, your champion pool and your mechanics. And masters, I believe, is a step above that. You understand how the map is, to be played to a certain degree, right? You've gotten to the point where you understand it. Masters is sort of when you start combining everything that you've learned. You start, playing champions that are specific to how you think the match should be played, how you think the game should be played, and then you start understanding in game how your team and how the 5 champions on your team versus the 5 champions on the other team would like to play the game to the most effective way possible and actually formulate a winning strategy based off of that knowledge that you've accumulated. But and then obviously that just gets sharper and sharper as you get higher in the ranks. But I think masters players is you really start to understand sort of how the game is supposed to be played properly. Yes, every now and then you'll just have, a face roll, we are better than you sort of moment, because masters is a very wide range of skill. Especially after the LP changes in this season currently. We got a lot more people, popping up to those top ranks. And so you're going to see a whole lot of, variety of players, a variety of play styles. And the top teams, the top teams, the ones that are going, first seed, second seed going into playoffs are going to be the ones that are really able to put their team strengths in a game plan to actually play around them. So whether it's, you have a dominant top laner who likes playing, Renekton, and you have a jungler that plays Elise. Okay, great. So that team will know, we really know what our strong points are. It's our top jungle. We're going to play to absolutely crush enemy tops every game to really, formulate our game plan. And that's sort of going to be, what to look out for. You're going to see which teams are able to understand their win conditions as well as who their strong players are. And once they do that, they can start achieving a lot.
Cool. I love the way that you described it. I love the detailed analysis of what you think like a master player is, and you're right. Like in this level of play, I expect to mechanically see things be very sound. I don't expect to be like, oh, whoa, you got so mechanically outplayed here. I'm sure that it's going to happen, especially when we get players who have like one tricks, or players that have a lot of hours on a particular champion. There's going to be opportunities that you're not necessarily going to expect to happen, or you might have those opportunities come to you because you are so proficient on those particular champions. But in general, like I love the masters level players are the link between, what is meta and what is like niche, what is one trick pony style. I love when players pull out the really off meta champions that they know that they can pull off, they know they can win. I remember last split seeing a lot of like Swain, for example. I think we got a Swain enjoyer here in this
Yeah,
game
we do.
as well. But I remember there were a couple of times that we saw, these fringe mid laners coming in that we didn't expect, and they were able to pull off, massive, quadra kills, not pentakills, but like triple kills, pentakills, dominating in lane, even though the champion isn't necessarily in the meta. But gonna be a really, really fun season for sure. A lot of players here at the either high diamond or at the masters plus level. Some of these players as well also playing in the ACL as either subs or like e-subs in certain cases. So there's going to be that experience. So definitely going to have a lot to look out for and a lot to look forward to as we get this season and these games started. So let's go ahead and talk about these two teams they're going to be looking at here in this week 1 matchup. We've got LiT Esports Red, who on paper, a little bit higher ranked in terms of their MMR, going up against OME Storm. Both these teams looking to be able to get their first win under their belt. You were doing a little bit of prep work before this one. Anything that you noticed that maybe we should keep an eye on here as we get started with this draft?
So on the side of LiT Esports, they definitely are very competent at playing, what would seem to be an early skirmishing style. Goat BM being the mid laner for that team tends to play a whole bunch of melee mids like Silas, like Fizz. And so he's, look for him, in these games to really try to make an impact in the 1v1 in mid. And then once they've been able to do that, use that advantage to sort of go to either side lane. Honestly, it'll most likely be towards top lane, towards Nodal, who is, a prolific Aatrox player, Aatrox Jax player, who is, coming into fruition. I know Aatrox has been getting a whole bunch of buffs recently. And so it is going to be really, really nice to see if those two can play together. And especially with Rook, right? Rook is going to be sort of, I think, that middle point that's going to really work with Goat BM, because Rook is going to be playing, I don't know. I'm going to cheat a little bit because I've been looking at their op.gg. They've been playing a whole bunch of Rek'Sai. And a champion like Rek'Sai, which is, very strong as of late, is able to create so many unique paths across the map. And so with a player like Goat BM, who is going to be playing for those roam style champions, again, like the Fizz, like the Silas, to pair up with something like a Rek'Sai that is also looking to make unique plays and unique angles onto the map, it is going to be really interesting to see those two pair together against, the enemy team like OME Storm, who I'm going to sort of just go right into this. I know we sort of were trying to go team by team, but OME Storm seems to, if I had to take a guess, right, is going to be playing sort of around, their sidelines will be either towards top or towards bottom. Just because Alex, their mid laner, seems to be more of a stable, I'm not meaning flame when I say this, but stable job security player in the mid laner. So likes Ryze, likes Syndra, likes Veigar. Champions that don't really require too much attention to be relevant in the match that they're playing. So look for King Clifford to actually move to the sides of the map to either play for a Herald, play for a Dragon, but not really focus too much in mid. And sort of with that in mind, we should actually see Alex maybe give up a little pressure towards Goat BM in the early game. But I mean, that's just my idea of how to go. We haven't actually seen these 5 versus these 5 in the league yet. So it could be I could be completely wrong. I could be completely wrong, and King Clifford and Alex could absolutely smash Goat BM and force them out of the game early. But that's sort of what makes this league exciting, right? The players have the capacity to play their styles as well as get countered by other styles that maybe they're not the best into. Because like you were saying before, right? We have a wide variety of one tricks and players who are more maybe knowledgeable about the game, who have reached this master rank. So if we got a one trick into someone that, you know, is more used to playing the map and can't play the map because the one trick really, really, sorry, I got distracted by a Discord notification. That is basically going to say that Peak Performance is going to be subbing in for Alex. And I have not actually done any scouting on Peak, so I'm excited to see what they bring to the table. But like what I was saying before, if you have someone who's a one trick and is really confident on their champions against someone who is maybe not as confident on one champion, but rather spreads their talent out across a bunch, we might see someone who, you know, may know a lot about the map and know a lot about different champions actually get put on the back foot by someone who is let onto their one trick.
Yeah.
And now I imagine, again, a lot of teams will be banning those out, but you can't ban every champion in the game. So look for, you know, different styles of play to definitely force these games in interesting directions. I don't know anything about Peak Performance. How about you, Moose?
You know, it's unfortunate, like especially when there's ever like an e-sub or like a sub that comes in, because you're expecting to see the 5 players come in, and so they come in as kind of sort of a wild card, right? Like, you know, are they going to be able to perform well? How does their team composition, you know, now shift to play with this play style or with their play style or whatever it may be? I've seen, like, it definitely does raise some concerns, especially considering that now, you know, they aren't going to have their
starting mid.
Yeah, their starting mid laner. And I mean, in, you know, statistically speaking, it's like, I think it was like when I was looking at the Dewan stats for last split, it was somewhere like 30% less win rate for a team that had a sub. Like, it's a pretty substantial number. When that happens,
we'll have to see how this goes, because we already are into draft. 3 bans already for either side. We're gonna have OME Storm on the blue side and LiT Esports Red on the red side, and we've already seen it. LiT has actually, or sorry, OME has taken away the Rec side that we were talking about for Rook earlier, as well as Dead Botting's seemingly only AD pick in the bot lane, which is going to be interesting to see where they go. But on the other side, we are going to be seeing LiT Esports take away the Janna and the Rengar from the jungler of King Clifford and Your Mom Sky. And Janna, one of those picks, right, that is very contra to a bunch of the meta supports these days, like the Rel, like Nautilus, that really want to be going in. And so taking away a pick like that Janna is going to lead into something like Emilio, because now LiT are going to be forced to go for hard engage, probably something like a Nautilus to counter the Emilio's anti-CC.
Yeah, and we were talking about it before, as we were getting ourselves into this and we were prepping for this. We're talking about the viability of the Kai'Sa. You know, you had said, and I think, you know, it's definitely a either first pick or must ban situation. Maokai was something that we got to see a lot in the open qualifiers for the NAC open qualifiers this weekend. Was either picked or banned, and now that it's available, probably going to be picked up here. A lot of opportunity for engage, a lot of opportunity for those sneaky, twisted, advanced plays that could end up really ruining somebody's day. And in the bottom lane, Milio, until you hit level 6, could be potentially a very squishy target that they might not have an answer for.
And I like that LiT Esports recognized the Sylas ban from OME. They realized that Sylas is banned, so Maokai is a very good pick for them, as well as a Seraphine. So you have 2 very strong R buttons so far from LiT Esports, Ashe even as well. These are picks that are a little bit interesting, because as we get further into the game, Milio will get more and more value against these champions, because especially if you're forced to stack CC for whatever reason, Milio will have a whole bunch of value. And this Ashe is a very nice takeaway as well from LiT, because Ashe Milio has been one of the strongest bot lanes popping up in the recent meta. And if OME are forced to pick something like an MF, it's a little bit, it feels a little bit bad, because MF Milio is not the greatest duo combination. Normally with Misfortune, you want to be picking something like a Nautilus, like a Braum, that can really hold people down while she's able to press that bullet time. But it will be locked in for the likes of Consideration. And it looks like that Rel as well might be locked in, and it is at least hovered. Rel, again, one of those picks that has been coming up in the last couple of patches, is more of a jungler these days. And is actually the champion that will be locked in here. Now, that champion is definitely a Misfortune pair.
Yeah, oh, the Magnet Storm coming in. I gotta tell you, when Rel first came out, I was spamming it in jungle. I said, guys, this is actually a jungle pick. It's real. Trust me. it just took a little bit longer for everyone to get ahead of the curve with that. But absolutely, Magnet Storm into bullet time is going to have the opportunity to allow for this Misfortune to be able to deal tons of damage. Looking at OP.GG's here for dead botting, we now know that it's going to be the Ashe in that ADC role. No Ashe on dead botting's OP.GG in 2023. So
it's Ashe.
It's Ashe, but still, I always wonder, you know, yes, you're taking it away to make sure that it doesn't get paired up with Emilio, but are you going to now be maybe a little bit less confident with it? It is, like you said, it is Ashe. You just, as long as you were able to do something with your ult, you should be okay. And especially at this level, I'm sure it's going to be the case. You got Maokai as well. You know, very easy to then land the chain CC once you have that Nature's Grasp come through. So looking at the bans now for the next part of this draft, top lane, LiT not wanting to give up some of those high priority top lane picks, the Jax and the Olaf, both really powerful, but OME decided to go for a completely different route, looking to take away some of these mid lane champions. The Cassiopeia, really strong scaler, a lot of opportunities for GoPM to bring that out. Not going to be able to do that here in this game. And with the next ban coming through, I think it's going to be another mid laner. We were talking about the LeBlanc being very powerful with that static shiv. If it is taken away, would make sense, and it is going to get taken away here.
Yeah, and I mean, we're with these 3 picks for either team, we're already seeing a formation of sort of what their team styles wants to be. Ari also playing into that for LiT. It is a very nice pick composition that LiT Esports ran its building for themselves versus OME, which is, you know, sort of really leaning heavily into that team fight potential. They're going to have to pick up some either tank shred or split push in these last few picks. So very good read from LiT, or they'll just double down with the extra team fight. Nico, a fairly decent matchup into the Ari. Keep in mind that her clone does not instantly block Blitzcrank hook, so it is not quite as good of an answer, but for now it looks like it will be locked in for the likes of Peak Performance, who we are going to see on a fairly fun champion for the first match of the split, and Canada as well. It seems that, you know, this team fight is going to be the strategy for OME. Kennen, again, a lot of AP AoE damage. So honestly, I would be looking for LiT here to pick something like a split pusher, something like maybe, I don't know, a Fiora, a Camille, something that can really force a member of OME away from the fight, whether it's Kennen, whether it's Nico, just so they don't have that extra bit of team fight capability to engage on LiT while they're looking to potentially find a pick angle themselves. But we'll see, right? Nodal has a whole bunch of picks up their sleeve. Camille is going to be hovered right now. Will it be locked in? That would be the split push answer to the team fight that OME are trying to bring, and it will be. So very nice that the first draft of this, for me at least, you know, I got at least one read in there. Got at least one read.
You know, I think you had more than one read. Like you were talking about how you thought that the top lane was going to be the counter pick here on red side for either one of these teams. I mean, it's not like a mid lane counter pick here. It is the top lane counter pick. You predicted that accurately.
However, Camille will be swapped to Irelia at the end of that. It appears that they were debating for LiT, and Camille is not going to be the pick. Irelia actually is still a very good matchup for Kennen. Does sort of fulfill a similar role, is just slightly more robust and can close the gap in that 1v1 matchup in the top side. But overall, I kind of like the compositions that both of these teams have gone for. They have stuck with their identity. LiT has gone for a bit of a pivot with that R5, again with the split pusher. But the other 4 champions could honestly pick out any member of OME. And they have a nice damage profile as well, with Ashe and Irelia bringing some good AD damage, with Ari and Maokai bringing the AP. OME sort of going to be focusing on Misfortune to bring that 80 damage. And so if LiT can in this game find a way to shut down the Misfortune, it'll become a lot harder for OME rather to deal consistent mixed damage in these fights, which means that LiT might be able to maybe index a little bit more heavily into AP if they're able to shut her down. But ultimately, we'll have to see as the game goes in, because these players can play in a whole bunch of different styles here, right?
Yeah. One that I do think is going to be almost guaranteed here is the Blitzcrank. Living Phoenix coming in, it's going to be very much what you would come to expect, and is going to have a lot of that early game pressure. I mean, just almost overwhelming pressure in the early game, especially going against Emilio Misfortune. You know, if you get that rocket grab early on, that's going to be half of their health bars, and you're going to be able to force that flash with the extra layered CC that Ash is able to put in. You're able to slow them down. It's going to potentially be a threat that off meta is going to have to figure out here in the early stages of the game. And I want to ask you now, you know, we know that the early game potential of Blitzcrank is there. We know the pick potential in the mid to late game from the Blitzcrank is there. What does this Milio have to do in the mid game? How is he going to be able to navigate the early game in order to be the most effective to help carry his team into that position where they can start to take those advantageous fights?
So in this game, it's not going to be entirely on your mom's guy to play the Milio perfectly. I think it's a little bit wild to expect the Milio to, you know, 1v1, or not 1v1, but in a 1-to-1 comparison match up to the Blitzcrank in terms of pressure. As we move through this game, it's going to be on the Milio and the Rel, or Milio plus whoever is nearest to them, to work together to actually create those vision, those pockets of vision for themselves, to look for flanks coming from Kennen and Nico. Because if you're not able to find, you know, a flank for Kennen, a flank for Nico, it's going to be very hard to actually trap LiT in a position to force them to fight. Because looking at OME, they want a team fight, they want a 5v5, but they don't really have the push with any of their champions to get that river priority, to be the first ones to the objective. And so unless they're able to find, you know, pockets of vision for TPs, for people to just sit in, it's going to be very difficult. But for that to happen, Milio has to pair up with someone. Honestly, whether it's a 2-3 person squad to go get vision, is going to have to be the, you know, the way it goes in order to get anything done.
Yeah, going to be, you know, going out by yourself, and you're most likely going to die, because it doesn't matter. Blitzcrank will always find a way to be there and ruin your day. Especially, you know, it's a fast champion, that one, you know. Yeah, especially if you go for speedy boy boots, and you can just really move around the map. I love that, you know, especially at this level of play, support players do like to go for that first back and then go straight towards mid lane to try to give pressure for their mid laners to make something happen. And, you know, when you do have that, especially with both Ahri and Nico, the pick potential is there, even in the 2v2 or if you have a lot of action, potentially even a 3v3, if they do decide to go that route. Both Nico and Ahri, for both of these teams, have the potential to go for these flanks either in the top lane or in the bottom lane. Is it going to be easier for them to go towards the bottom side, or do you think it's going to be more of a top side focused play for these mid laners?
So realistically speaking, Nico is going to have the push advantage. I mean, it's going to be an interesting matchup because both of these mid laners have very strong push into each other. So look for them to honestly not really be able to move out of the lane unless they get pressure from a support or a jungler. Because they'll be able to, you know, neutrally clear the waves and move at the same time is sort of how it's going to go. But realistically, if you have to think about it, I know a decent amount about the game. I don't exactly know how Misfortune Milio versus Ash Blitzcrank will go, because a lot of the times in that matchup, the Blitzcrank itself will create enough pressure on the lane to force whatever the enemy laner is to back off the wave as to not get hooked. In a lane like Ash Milio, where they do have a whole lot of push, we'll be able to see. Sorry, I keep cutting you off, I feel. Yeah, no, you're good. I'm like, I can feel PVS's eyes on me because we're getting spectator delay time. So really quick here, I want to do some Dragon Soul predictions. We're going to each get 3. I'll start out. I'll have you get 1. I'll do 2. Then you'll do 2, and then I'll get the last one. So I'll let you start off. Is this for the whole series? Just for this game. Just for this game. All right. Yep. I believe we will get give me a Hextech Soul. Let's be spicy for the first game. I'm gonna go with the Mountain and Cloud Souls, and then you get 2 more. Give me Ocean and Chemtech. Ocean and Chemtech, which leaves me with Infernal. We're gonna take a quick break so that we can get ourselves into this game. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back.
Tell me where do I go? Tell me where do I take us? Your heart is starting to slow. May the water be safe. As I dive in, blood stains washing underneath the waves. I'll be reaching out to keep you safe. As we fall, I can't hold on much longer. We're drifting down to the other side. Try to pull us under. Keep holding out for the other side.
Welcome everyone back to the Aegis Marauder League Week 1 action of OME Storm versus LiT Esports Red. Before we get into the spicy level 1 that I'm sure we're gonna have with the Blitzcrank, I do want to let everyone know that Aegis Esports League is sponsored by Coachify.gg for our summer 2023 split. Coachify is a commission-free esports coaching platform currently in open beta. Become a coach today and track your students, inspire them to succeed, and turn your passion into a career. Click the panel below the stream to check out their website for more information. And with that said, I'm super excited because we're already having a spicy moment. We'll see if LiT is actually able to find anyone. It doesn't seem that they've been able to spot the MF or the melee who was backing under tower. But either way, Moose, you already have a Mountain Dragon. -1.
Yeah, minus one. They don't count for any points, but the game is still young. The game is still young. Definitely an opportunity here, and very smart by OME Storm to put in that ward at the tribe rush. They recognized what was happening, and the immediate response from the team: go in to the enemy jungle and drop all the wards. They now have all the information necessary to make sure they know where Rook is going to be.
Yeah, and it looks like the ward on the blue buff will spot that Rook is not starting there. Rook rather starting on the Raptors, which is actually going to be warded out and immediately pinged by the side of OME Storm. And honestly, with this dragon, with both junglers starting topside, that is kind of against what I thought was going to happen this game. I really thought that Rook was just going to path towards topside early, which honestly could still happen. Could go for a 3 camp into this Kennen gank. But either way, Paragax should know that this Maokai is coming top and should play accordingly. And with that being the case, Clifford, if again all goes as expected, should be able to get a nice XP advantage from clearing down in an uncontested fashion. But honestly, nothing too crazy happening so far. Just some Ari getting cryo and people farming out.
I mean, I think that is to be expected, especially for the start of the AML. You're still trying to feel all the teams out, recognizing, trying to figure out who's going to be the team that you're really worried about the players that are performing exceptionally well, and as the weeks go on, we're going to be seeing a lot of that action come through, and potentially our first gank of the AML. Rook is going to be going towards the river, looking to be inside that brush. Let's see if he decides to go for this twisted advance, and there's the play. Gonna try to get the stun. Nice flash from Paragex to deny that.
And very well played by Clifford as well. Was here to go for the counter gank, and actually has to be here because Paragex's wave is going back. Flash twisted advance.
Trying to go in. Now the exhaust trying to come through. The flash coming in. Are they going to be able to get No Doubt down? They cannot. Paragex is low. Rook is low. Rook is going to get the stun in the Clifford, but it's not going to be enough. First blood in the AML goes to Paragex, and King Clifford, the big red horsey, gonna come in with the second.
And the action is not done yet. GoPM trying to chase out P performance. Flash for flash is going to dodge the charm. So very nicely played from the OME sub, but a very nice read coming from King Clifford to find that counter gank on the top side and find a 2-for-0. 1 kill going to either member of that top side duo for OME means that the gold advantage already in the game is 800. And while that might not seem a lot, looking at the items already for jungle, that is a full Bombi Cinder for the Rel, as well as a full wave left for Paragex to collect here. But honestly, yes, it was great from King Clifford to get that read, but also it was very nicely played to cover the wave that Paragex had to manage. I don't know if it was very clear to people watching, but that wave was going out against the cannon, so it was only a matter of time before Paragex was either denied a whole bunch of CS or ganked by Rook or both. So the fact that they were able to turn that in such a positive play without anything being lost on their side was absolutely amazing. And now we're settling into a nice little lead. We see King Clifford back on the bot side as well as Rook. So both junglers, again, should be fairly predictable at this point. They both know that they're on the same sides, getting spotted out by each other. GoPM in a very low amount of HP. Does know where the enemy jungler is though, so is not afraid at all to step up. But honestly, this is going exactly how I expected it. Well, not exactly, but the general game plan is exactly as I expected, not the outcome.
Yeah, I mean, I think we expected, you know, an early game coming in from Rook, and unfortunately it does get spotted out, and it gives OME the opportunity to be able to push forward here. And those are the numbers and the assists they don't necessarily see on paper. That gank was possible because the whole squad said, hey, let's vision up LiT Esports jungle. Let's make sure that we know where Rook is at, and it meant that Clifford was able to respond in time. While not everyone got an assist for that one, it definitely was a team effort to give OME Storm the lead here in the early stages of the game. Mountain Drake is now up as well. First back's coming back as well for the bottom lanes, as we get a recurve bow dagger comparatively to a double longsword recurve bow advantage here for consideration as we get into the second phase here. GoPM gonna go for a gank into the top lane. Paragex, the man with all the attention right now. Nice over deception, getting that true damage coming through, but not yet level 6. GoPM is in trouble maybe. No, it's No Doll that finishes the job and gives the kill back over to LiT Esports Red.
Yeah, and absolutely, while the early lead did go to that cannon, the matchup is naturally losing. So the fact that No Doll was able to get that extra leg up by getting a gank from their mid laner means that the matchup will heavily swing in the favor of Irelia, especially being able to crash a wave on top of it. Is sitting already on a Vamp Scepter and a recurve bow is just going to be super strong in this top side with bot wave bouncing as well. Could potentially be a little bit dangerous considering that OME do not know where the Maokai is. But as this game goes on, right, the Irelia Kennen matchup is going to be more and more favored for No Doll, and so the fact that this matchup is already being skewed slightly should mean that later on into the game it will become a problem. And it just does not stop. The 3-person squad in the top side means that Paragex could be in for a very rough time. No flash on that cannon means that with the wave going away, it's a bit dire.
Let's see if he's able to get out of that one. The stun lands this time into all the CC. He is going to drop the slicing maelstrom, but it definitely will not be enough. Easy kill for LiT Esports.
Oh, Rook is going to be so sad. Went for the twisted advance, got the aftershock proc, and just tried to stand there while one of his 2 carries would be able to get the kill. Tried to S-key, but still took the kill with the aftershock proc. So a little bit unfortunate there, as No Doll gonna stop King Clifford's base, who is just gonna be up here to hold the wave for their top laner. But on the other side, your Mom Sky on that cannon, or sorry, on that Melia was trying to bait out the Nico play onto the bot lane, but it was very well avoided by the LiT bot lane. Bot side going to be a little bit of an issue for the side of OME, considering there's already a 13 CS lead in favor of dead botting. And play is going to go. Here comes Blitzcrank.
Phoenix flash, nice flash from Sky to be able to avoid that rocket grab, and now Consideration going to get a little bit of damage with that MF proc with the extra range from the Milio. Ghost is going to get pulled as well here from Consideration. They want to finish the job on the dead botting. The dead botting just going to ghost as well, so it's going to be some summoner spells traded, but no one going down.
Yeah, and crucially at this point, the HP on dead botting and Living Phoenix is such that they cannot actually get that crash on the wave. They're going to try now, but the wave is in such a bad spot for the lit bot lane that if someone comes back, maybe Peak Performance or King Clifford, they could be in a whole lot of trouble. And the fact that King Clifford is not showing on any wards means that Lit has to play so respectfully. They're gambling right now by going, but hook lands onto the Misfortune and Arrow.
Okay, a lot of damage on the Consideration, but dead botting is low, going to be forced flash away. Living Phoenix, though, will finish the job and will pick up the kill. The Ignite will be enough. Dead botting is less than 100 HP, but is still living dangerously. Will finally walk away as the junglers decide to go for some neutral objectives. LiT Esports will take the advantage of the bottom lane and maybe try to go for Dragon here. And we'll get the grab. Living Phoenix gonna be so good with these rocket grabs. Your mom the fry is gonna maybe survive. No! Will go down and dead botting will pick up another kill. It's now 4-2 in favor of LiT.
You could see the intention behind your bomb. Sky did not quite know that Rook was going to be there. Very, very confident from Living Phoenix to throw that hook while dead botting was at such a low HP. But the fruit being up meant that the Ash was able to get just enough health to output that little bit extra damage to finish off the Milio without trading themselves as well. But on the other side of the map, while that was all happening, King Clifford was able to pick up the Herald in trade, as well as, I believe, push Irelia off a wave. So very well played from the OME jungler to find a trade in a situation that was looking pretty dire for their bot lane. And now we're looking towards potential items coming in. It looks like it is going to be Kraken Slayer for both AD carries in the early levels. That Paragax should be building. I believe that will be a static Shiv with that Noon Quiver, so don't be alarmed when you see a Kennen building AD. That is just currently what the meta is, so no need to fear. But in bot lane, getting a nice crash, getting a nice bounce should mean that King Clifford could be able to potentially find an angle here and will go towards the bot lane. Has a nice angle actually to go for a lane gank with the level 6 available and the Magnet Storm. No wards currently available for the lit bot lane means that this Rel should be able to safely walk into a very, very strong position.
And they know that it's here as well. They know that they can do it. GoPM is on the way, though, and is dropping some vision pings. They are known that they are coming through, and now Living Phoenix going to go into the brush, into the Dread Brush, potentially. The Magnet Storm going to get dropped. Double TP coming through, though, from the side of OME Storm. Living Phoenix is going to go for the Static Shock. Will not be enough to stay alive. Paragax will pick up a kill and will even out the kill count. 2 teleports?
Yeah, we talked about 5v5, but that was, I think, a little bit of overkill despite being able to get a kill on the bot lane of LiT Esports. I think Paragax, hold on, not over yet.
Maybe gonna come through. GoPM maybe in trouble. Spirit Rush will get used. Nature's Graph coming through as well, though. Rico coming through as well. Paragax gonna be fine. Gonna get some assistance from you, Mom and Sky. And GoPM with one final Spirit Rush proc should be able to get out of that okay.
I don't think Paragax saw the Nature's Grasp there. Because otherwise I don't think they would have gone for that flash ultimate. But TPing away from Paragax is actually going to be really detrimental for them, because with that happening, Nodal's going to be able to pick up 3 plates almost in this top side, as well as deny a whole bunch of CS that Kennen was going to miss. And I mean, double TPs, you can already take a look at the CS advantages in the mid and top lane for LiT Esports. It's going to be 20 on Irelia as the play is not even over yet. Peak Performance is going to get hit by the stun.
Oh, trying to come through. Peak Performance very much in trouble. Nodal going to go for the dive and will pick it up. It will be a 1-for-1, but Rook is there to maybe push the lane forward. But overall, you know, giving all of that turret plate gold over to Nodal going to be a little bit better than the turret plate gold getting split between 4 members of OME in the bottom lane.
But look at this. Rook is trying so very hard to get this wave in. Actually, could be in a little bit of dangerous, because King Clifford has finished that Eventrat and is going to be able to have a little bit of advantage if they fight. But either way, it doesn't look like Rook is going to be able to get that full crash. Actually, never mind. King Clifford cannot hold the wave anymore. So, job done from the Maokai.
Good job, thumbs up there. And, you know, overall, very even game to start off the AML. What we like to see, I mean, last season, every streamed game in the AML except for one in the group stage went to game 3. I expect a similar result here in this season because of just how close a lot of these players are in terms of rank and in performance. Everyone wants to perform well. Everyone wants to make plays happen, but the big developments, like you were talking about here, Septi, are the CS advantages in the mid lane, in the top lane for LiT Esports, and a pretty even structure control for both teams as well. Not really seeing a big advantage either way. Paradox should be okay here, but it's overall, I think, what LiT Esports was looking for in the early game.
Yeah, I mean, the gold coffers of OME Storm have been, you know, helped a little bit by the fact that they are able to pick up that Rift Herald, 100 gold from getting the kill, as well as believe they dropped it in bot side after the 5-man teleport down bot. Living Phoenix in a little bit of an awkward position. Unlucky that King Clifford grabbed the Rel when they were dismounted, but you know, it is what it is. Either way, we did just see, you know, a little bit of a hint on top side. We saw Nodal fighting Paragax when the cannon had just gotten back to lane, forced them down to about 30% HP, and it's going to get another plate off of this top tower. Just looking at the gold difference in the top, it's already 700, almost 800 in favor of this Irelia, and she is not done pushing this lead yet. But with second dragon spawning, it looks as though LiT is in a better spot currently to go for this. They have a couple wards in place. They have at least river pressure for now. They're going to get pushed in bot, and it looks as though OME is going to maybe give for now. Maybe key performance is baiting to find a teleport, but I don't think they're really going to be able to. But honestly, Paragax moving down means that they are going to look to potentially fight this. King Clifford is in a position on the side. Nature's Grasp.
Gonna get dropped. Nice Nature's Grasp on multiple members of the OME Storm squad. Paragax is though gonna come in, maybe gonna go for the nice perfect storm. Will be able to get it. The bullet time is massive, and it's a huge slaughter. 4 members down, or 3 members down of the LiT Esports Red squad. They get the dragon, but at what cost? 4 members will inevitably die. Double kill for peak performance, and LiT Esports is now dead completely. Our first days of the AML.
Woo, that is a spicy bit of dragon gameplay right there. When the pick comp gets engaged on Moose, it doesn't go very well, does it?
No. No,
no, it's not.
It did not go very well for them.
No, it's not. King Clifford with an amazing crash down and Magnet Storm leading into consideration, who I believe they double flashed forward to get the Wombo combo there. Paragax doing just enough to spook LiT Esports into staying in a position for King Clifford to find a very nice crash down. Honestly, I would give up a Hextech Dragon for that play. Because, you know, now you got a 2k gold lead, and this is looking really nice for the side of OME Storm. They're finishing their mythics, right? Looking at the bot laners right now, Misfortune has a BS sword advantage against their counterpart in the Ashe, and LiT Esports is not stopping, although they do not have nearly as many members here and are going to be forced off the Herald. Peak Performance doing a very nice job on that Nico to actually scare them away from that Rift Herald. A little bit of mind games there, but I mean, this is exactly how you wrote it up, right? If you are OME Storm, right, you are in the locker room, you're looking at your whiteboard of what's our game plan. 5v5, say less. That's exactly what they did. That's exactly how they played it out, and we saw the result. It was a one-sided affair for the blue side, and this is gonna blow open the game, I believe, almost, because now with these items completed, they're gonna have the confidence now to push forward in these lanes. The only way, again, that they lose this game is actually exactly what LiT Esports wants to do, right? They only lose if they get picked. And LiT Esports can keep their head up, knowing that that is exactly what they do best.
And we're going to see if they can, you know, make that happen here. I think Nodal is your win condition. Look at how much damage he's putting in on the Paragax. If they can do that all game, I'm sure that they're going to be happy. They're also going to get a tower down in the top lane, but Pop Blossom going to get dropped, going to get landed in on a Go PM, but will use the Everfrost effectively as well as the Spirit Rush to get away.
This is exactly what R5 is for. It's for picks like this. It's also a story you tell people when you're worried about blind picking something. Because Paragax is not going to have a fun time unless they're 5v5ing. And honestly, LiT Esports, if I were them, I'd be talking about, you know, giving the maybe next 2 dragons and see how big of a lead that Nodal can get in the side lane. Because if you force OME to try and play your game and try and play to match the Irelia, you will find an advantage on the other side, right? Because Kennen being in the side cannot match Irelia by himself, and so we'll have to pull someone like your Mom Sky or Peak Performance even to find an advantage and stop the push from this Irelia. But it looks like we might actually find a fight here. Nodal doesn't have TP, but GoPM is going to be a little bit cheeky on the side with that Charm onto Peak Performance. But either way, OME is going to be able to pick up that Herald and secure the second objective on that top side of the map. As well as, I think we need a Dragon Soul check-in.
It is an Infernal Soul. It is. I was gonna say that. I was like, okay, so the Mountain Soul came in. I was down and out. Then the Hextech Soul came in, Septi, which is the second one. So it was 1-1 going in, and it's the Infernal Soul coming out. So I get the first point. Don't be discouraged. Last split, it was like I was like 8 and 42 or something like that of Dragon Soul predictions. So you know the season's still young.
Boost, all I'm going to say is that if you lose your own game, it says something, you know? Anyway, it's not like we're completely guessing randomly here, you know, something like that. But
no way.
No, we're not guessing. You know, we just know. Moose knew. Saw the code. Yeah. Exactly.
Yep. I love it.
Either way, looking to get towards this third dragon, which is going to be spawning in about 30 seconds time, and we already see again LiT doing a very nice job. They did this before, but got collapsed on very quickly by OME. LiT is already in the bot side jungle OME, and they already have those Maokai saplings down. They're going to get a whole lot of value from the demonic embrace coming out from Rook. I do want to say something. That Rook, when they go for a pick like this Maokai and they go for something like Aftershock, I don't really like it as much, because if you go Aftershock, that means that you're committing to being the tank, to being the engage. And when you build something like a demonic embrace first, it kind of takes away from the value that you're trying to build with Aftershock. Yes, you get, you know, the bonus bit of damage, but you're going to survive for that much less time in a game where if you're forced into a 5v5, it is so hard to play. Seems a little bit, you know, counterintuitive to the way that they were trying to play this game out, but if Root believes that that is the play, they are the Masters player, but we'll see how it goes. Push that a little bit though, because OME does have a bunch of gold on them currently. Actually, I say a bunch of gold. It's about a 500 gold lead in favor of the blue team. Teleports coming in to secure river control, and pings going on to the Baron for the blue team.
Oh, I love this play coming in from OME Storm. They knew that the play potentially was coming in. They saw the teleport actually as well. But now potentially Dead Body going to find an opportunity here to go through. They're going to go for the Dragon Click, and they're going to get the pick potentially on the Peak Performance. The shutdown is there, and now potentially a big play for LiT Esports Red as 3 members get hit by the Nature's Grasp. Rook is going to be able to go in. Consideration is low. They don't have the Pod Blossom. Your Mom and Sky is forced to go down. Your support is dead, as LiT Esports Red is looking to take down the rest of OME Storm. They will lose Nodal. The Aurelia is dead, but a great charm coming through from GoPM. Kate Clifford with massive damage with Consideration there in the back. Gonna be able to take that first one. It's gonna be a 3-4-5 shutdown. 4 dead, botting, and an ace for LiT Esports Red.
Yeah, and that should allow LiT Esports to reset and go take this dragon for Soul Point. Just a very nicely well played. They were able to catch the Nico in the mid lane, who was not able to stall long enough for their team to do Baron. Blue team does not do Baron very quickly, so the fact that they tried to pull that trigger is a little bit concerning. I understand what they were trying to do, right? The dragon is up, and so you make LiT Esports choose. They either choose to go to Soul Point with that dragon and give up Baron, or they opt into the potential 5v5 that OME is trying to set up. So it's you know, it's a very unfortunate situation for the side of OME, but LiT has come right back to the dragon, and there are 5 members of both teams here again. We could potentially see another play coming out, as Consideration is looking to scout out the river, but is not going to be able to do it in time, as Dead Bonding is just going to be able to shred this dragon down. But GoPM is trying to get picked here potentially, but that very nicely purchased Banshee's Veil is going to keep them safe. Perfectly timed as well.
You know, Septi, I wanna shout out your intelligence here, because you predicted, you said the way that LiT Esports wins this game is if they get a pick. And look what happened. Peak Performance gets picked off in that last team fight, and it is a slaughter that LiT Esports is able to win. They now have Dragon Soul Point and all the momentum moving into the next phase of this game. Look at
here we go again.
Looking to go for another Baron here. Let's see if OME is able to do it. There's no way for Nodal to teleport up there. He's going to have to roam to make it happen. Nice Enchanted Crystal. Going to stun on the Emilio. Blossom's going to drop. The ultimates are ready. And there's Dead Botting going down. Rook is going to try to escape. Living Phoenix will come through. So it's only one member of LiT Esports Red dying. But now potentially an opportunity for OME Storm to go back to Baron if they choose to do so. Low health bars means that they won't. They will back away.
If you're OME, you're more than happy to give up that Baron there. You were able to swing 900 gold in a single pick onto Dead Botting. Paragax able to pick up 900 gold and they shot that Rook flash forward.
That's coming in, the Magnet Storm, the bullet time. Rook is dead. King Clipper will pick up another kill. Nodal is next. They will take each member of LiT Esports down one by one. And that 5v5 composition once again being shown on full display.
Why did they engage on the tank? Why did they go on the rel?
And Flash was used too.
Yeah, it was a bungle. It was a bungled play there. We saw Rook go for the flash onto King Clifford. Living Phoenix hooked a minion. It was a disaster for LiT. They did a very nice job before abusing the fact that, oh, hold on, does have the crash down.
Charm coming in. Clifford is low and will crash down right into Baron. Very low. And maybe a game-saving rocket grab from Living Phoenix that will deny OME Storm the chance to get Baron.
It seems like these teams are skipping a couple steps in these last couple plays, because this last Baron, it seems as though OME was overconfident in their Baron take, and so they didn't actually scout out or check to see where the Blitzcrank might be. Because realistically, the only you have to think of plays as you're going into them as, how do we want to win? What is going to stop us from succeeding in this play?
Yeah.
So speaking about that last play, right? They had Baron, they had the advantage with Rook being dead. So you have to think, how is it possible that this play does not succeed? And the big red flag should be Blitzcrank hooking us over the wall. So job number one has to be find the Blitzcrank. And it seems as though they skipped that step, and as a result, King Clifford was forced to basically come off of that Baron. I thought that your mom in Sky, you had to use ulti there, but instead it was just the rel being tanky enough to survive the burst and the CC chain to crash down back over the wall. So good, so well played from them. But in the play before that, where OME was able to find a very nice flank onto Dead Botting, it was just that LiT did not clear the river effectively or correctly. You had Rook over the wall who was throwing saplings, worrying about the potential health of the Baron. So as a result, was not there to be the front line that his team needs to check bushes like that banana bush that Nico was sitting in. So as a result, you had a play that basically stalls out the game for either team. But this is week one, right, Moose? This is week one, and I say week one as your Bob and Sky just gets absolutely massacred by the roaming squad of LiT Esports. Rocket grab being landed by Living Phoenix is a very nicely well played out there. I feel like I've been talking forever, Moose. I feel like I feel like I haven't actually let you speak. So I apologize.
I enjoy the deep dive analysis about things because it gives me a chance to rest my voice. As you can tell, I very much just get into the play, and I have those nasty little voice breaks. But I love it. I love it, and I love seeing these opportunities for these teams to come in and go for plays here. And Living Phoenix really living up to the hype here on this Blitzcrank, getting some key rocket grabs in the mid to late game to allow for LiT Esports to stay in control. They had at one point all three lanes manned with Nodal on the top lane. You had GoPM in the bottom lane being able to push out that minion wave forward, prepping for this Infernal Drake. If you're able to get Infernal Soul, GoPM is going to be able to deal massive damage. Dead Botting, massive damage. Nodal, potential for massive damage as well. And an opportunity is now coming up in about 10 seconds. They've got river control as well.
Yeah, it's a little bit scary to actually do Dragon, because we've already seen what happens when when LiT Esports tries to start an objective first. It allows OME to get into a position to team fight them. And when an objective is started like that, this happens.
Nice Magnet Storm into the bot. Blossom Brook is dead. Nodal is next, and the 5v5 team fight continues to go in favor of OME Storm. They will deny the opportunity for LiT Esports Red to get an early Infernal Soul.
Chat can't see it, but I'm face palming. This is exactly what I thought was going to happen. LiT Esports are great at picking, but they are really bad at being solid in the river to start an objective. Yes, they do damage. They do a lot of damage. They do it fairly quickly. But to actually hit an objective, you have to plant yourself in a certain area for a certain amount of time. And it looks like they're not going to give up this Baron without a fight. Go PM on the side. Actually going to look for a charm. Spell shield broken. Hold on.
Trying to go in, Spear Rush, 2 charges remaining, going to be able to get the Everfrost root in, 3,800 HP on Baron. Rocket Grab going to come in, the teleport's going to come through from the ball. This could be a big play for LiT Esports Red if they're able to find it. All of the ultimates are down for OME Storm. It's a 1v1. Great ultimate from Nodal as a double kill comes in for GoPM. Triple kill for GoPM. That is almost a pentakill for GoPM. Taken away by Nodal. Quadra kill for this Ahri and an ace for LiT Esports Red.
You have to give credit to LiT Esports. They played that so perfectly. They knew that they basically knew that OME did not have the damage to burst down Baron quickly and that they would take a whole lot of damage by doing that. And so what they decided to do while they were down members, they said, okay, we're going to play with the Ashe and the Ahri range and just be such a menace that they can't tank both us and the Baron and will be forced to fight. By the time OME realized that they had to fight, Nodal was back up and was able to use teleport to get into that fight. And then we all saw what happened. It was checkmate when that Irelia came into the fight. So much damage coming out from GoPM, so much damage coming out from Nodal that even though Dead Botting got forced out of the fight and I believe killed by consideration, it did not matter. The red team there did such a nice job, and as a result, they're rewarded with the Baron. Moose. So what if they didn't get Infernal Soul? They have the most powerful buff on the map until Elder Dragon spawns. And now we're going to really see what this Irelia is going to be able to do in the side lane when she has such a powerful buff to push with.
A 5,000 gold lead at the 30-minute mark, maybe not the biggest consequence right now, but it is the power of the Baron buff on a team that can split push effectively. And I'm really curious, as you said, are they going to be able to maybe find a close angle here or maybe set up for an end? Pick up an inhibitor, potentially even pick up multiple inhibitors with the effectiveness. Peak performance going to get hit by the long-range enchanted crystal arrow, and Nodal will take down peak performance.
I'm speechless. I think peak performance must not have realized that they were spotted going into that bush. I didn't see the lead up to that arrow being targeted at the bush, but to my knowledge, there was no ward, there was no vision that would have caught that Nico going in there. So honestly, amazing job by Dead Botting to find that arrow onto the Nico, and this has blown the map wide open. The 1-3-1 functions well when you're able to spread a team out. It functions even better if you're able to pick one of the side lanes and force them and force an advantage, whether in a 1v0 or a 3v2, to open up the map. As we've already seen, they've taken down, I believe, 2 towers. We're going to be working on that 3rd tower, the mid inhib, which is not the most important inhib to break down, but it is still one that allows you to get to the base. GoPM doing so much damage to those towers with all the AP they've been able to pick up. Has a Medjai's to their name, has a death cap already at 30 minutes. This Ahri is ready to rumble.
A minute remaining on Baron as well. Those cannon buffed cannon minions with the buffed up Baron just deal so much damage every single shot. And that inhibitor is going to be taken without consequence here by LiT Esports Red, and they might even be able to go for a 3 inhibitor play with 40 seconds remaining. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow is not going to land on anybody, but it has a very low cooldown, so an opportunity for it to come back up. The rest of LiT Esports Red will take down the inhibitor as that comes through, and the 5-man death squad is now coming in to maybe get another inhibitor down. Double super minions spawned. If they're able to get this last inhibitor to come through, maybe they're able to get it before this Baron buff goes down, but will they be able to get out of it scot-free? The inhibitor is now targeted, should go down here. They are nervous potentially, and they're gonna try to get it. A lot of damage onto peak performance. Not gonna be able to drop that Pop Blossom. The Magnet Storm does not land the bullet time, and now an opportunity for LiT Esports Red to close this game. King Clifford is low as Paragax goes down. The inhibitor will fall next, and potentially a game-winning play for LiT Esports Red.
Yeah, LiT Esports Red doing such a nice job. GoPM throwing Charm at Casper the Friendly Ghost there. Not really able to hit Consideration, and actually, as that happens, it means that LiT is going to get pushed off. Consideration being full HP and outranging most of the members of this red side. means that LiT is going to be forced away and forced to base. But having taken 3 inhibs, it might be enough to keep OME stuck in their base while this dragon spawns. But King Clifford not going to be deterred by a couple minions going into their base. Will try to potentially, I guess, look for a steal, but could actually get caught here. Living Phoenix in the bush. Will they find the horse? They will. Crash out canceled as well.
King Clifford is low and is gonna get hit by the super or the mega enchanted crystal arrow, whatever it's called. It's a long range.
the super mega death arrow.
Yeah, it's a death arrow at this point as you die and you lose any chance of getting this Infernal Drake. That is Infernal Soul for LiT Esports Red.
Yeah, this is exactly how you drew it up in the exit. Once you get forced out there by Ari going a little bit crazy with the charm, that's exactly how you want to play, right? You want to retreat into the place where you have control of vision. They only have 2 blue wards to check in front of them. The fact that they didn't use them on Dragon meant that King Clifford did not quite have full knowledge of their approach to that Dragon Pit. And ultimately, very well played from LiT to be able to recognize that they would be able to catch someone on the way to that dragon and secure the soul. And now, with Infernal Soul, with double supers coming into the base, I think it is only a formality for LiT Esports to finish this first game. And honestly, I'm wondering if there was a comp to do it, this would be the comp for OME to come back into the game, right? You just need to find one good set of combined ultimates to, find a win in a fight.
And we've seen it before, right? Like we saw the Magnet Storm into the bullet time. We saw the Pop Blossom into the bullet time.
The arrow.
Oh my God, another long range enchanted crystal arrow. That might just do it.
There's no Jhin in the game, but I think it's time for a curtain call.
Oh my God, Go PM with so much damage. Nature's Grasp will keep everyone in place. King Clifford is tanky, but not tanky enough. Nice Pop Blossom on a 4 members. Nice bullet time on a 4 members. But that is going to be 3 members of OME dead with all the damage. The wallet getting dropped, the buff advantage getting dropped, and that will be LiT Esports Red winning the first streamed game of this AML split in a very exciting fashion.
Yeah, it was, it was close for a while. Actually, it was close until maybe 5 minutes ago. It was close until that Baron went down. After the Baron, it was a much more one-sided game. Very nicely done from LiT Esports. Once they were able to get their hands, on a solid win condition, being that Baron, they were able to really go forward into the game and do, what their composition wants to do. They were able to walk up. They were able to use their pick potential to force OME off the waves that were baroned up. So ultimately, well played from LiT. OME did a very nice job finding their angles as well. Had a couple of very nice wombo combo fights, using their composition to the best of their ability, and just unfortunately not able to get across the finish line with the couple fight wins that they had. But I think credit has to go to LiT. That Baron play especially, playing their range, being able to be just annoying enough to force OME into a disadvantageous fight was what won them the game.
I think for OME Storm, they played like in the early stages of the game, they played this 5-man composition really, really well. And, they wanted to go for those team fight plays. But I look back to that play in the bottom lane where they exhausted both Paragaxes and Peak Performance Teleport to go for this 5-man like mega play down there in the bottom lane, not able to completely take down that tower, giving Nodal the opportunity to get a lot of that gold back in the turret plates in the top lane, just giving LiT Esports Red the start of the momentum that they needed to. It's these little things that really build up into these big advantages for a team over time. Welcome back, everybody, to the Aegis Marauders League Week 1. Game 2 draft has just now begun, with OME Storm looking to stay towards blue side, looking to even up this series 1-1 against LiT Esports Red. And out of respect for Living Phoenix, the Blitzcrank is taken away, Septi.
I would feel slighted that it wasn't banned first.
You're right.
Yeah, that's disrespectful from OME. Still sticking with the Rek'Sai and the Silas bans, though. LiT not changing up their bans, going with the Rek'Sai, Janet, Kai'Sa bans. Rek'Sai and Janet, I imagine being more for comfort's sake that they don't want to play against it. And OME, having banned that Blitzcrank, means they're free to go for this Milio. I said it last game, but if we're going for a pick champion, I expect maybe something like a Nautilus to be picked up by LiT. It definitely does counter Milio in the sense that Nautilus is basically a knockup champion. He's not a stun champion, so got a knockup champion like Nautilus, which isn't really countered by Milio. Can't cleanse knockups anymore, I don't think. There's no QSS flashing.
No, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Or fortunately, depending on who you like.
Dude, I thought it was super cool. LiT gonna go for the Maokai there. Not having the Blitzcrank means that it will be potentially a little bit more difficult to make pick plays happen, given how potent a combination of Maokai Blitzcrank is. But Maokai definitely still S tier jungler on the patch. Definitely something that's blindable. I wouldn't be surprised if they take away the Ashe again.
Now, looking at your notes, a Mumu was potentially an option here. Could fill the role, kind of like Nautilus.
It definitely could. Karthus is going to be locked in. I believe that actually might be a dead bot in Karthus.
What? IP bottom lane? What is this shenanigans?
Yeah, who saw that one coming?
Oh no, but they are going to give the Ashe over though.
Yeah.
So Milio Ashe, which has been meta this patch, is going to now be available here. What makes Milio Ashe so strong?
I mean, so Ashe is already very good at kiting champions around her. Passive basically applies a slow. Ashe is auto attacking. And so Milio, who's able to add a attack speed or attack range increase to a champion that already is so good at kiting people around, just means that Ashe is going to be able to kite champions, deal damage, and chase people down from an even further range. Rel going to be locked in as well. I believe OME are starting to get Exodia because last draft they had a very similar first rotation, but they had MF. And while MF is good, it is not quite as much damage per second as the Ashe, and she's much better at kiting around fights, dealing with tanks. So I'm curious to see what this Karthus is going to do, because realistically Maokai and Karthus can be flexed around. Karthus can go jungle, can go AD, Maokai can go jungle, can go top. But the Alistar locked in is a nice answer to the Rel as well as the Ashe. You will be able to use the Unbreakable to eat an Ashe arrow, as well as headbutt the Rel, who is going to try and crash down against your team. But we'll see. Very different styles coming out from LiT this game. Karthus itself is fairly game defining. So yeah. If it is going jungle, we need to look for a very strong mid laner to come out from that team. Otherwise, Karthus could potentially be in danger of a strong lane like Ashe Milio causing headaches.
And I'm curious to see what type of build Karthus tries to go for as well. Do they go for that more snowbally build with the first strike, or do they go for a more cooldown reduction, more CDR, more uptime percentage build with their keystones and runes to try to make that happen? I like, and I saw snowbally Karthus recently, and going for that first strike at like near the mid game, you start to get a point where every time you press R, you're getting 300 gold. So if you're able to do that, and you're able to do that early on, I expect LiT to be able to have a really strong mid to late game, just kind of like the same way that they had in game 1, right? Like they were able to get some really good damage, siege damage with Nadal. Even the mid lane pick, the Ahri, GoPM was in the side lanes looking to be able to get that siege damage coming in, and it was working pretty effectively in that game. Now, of course, I'm not going to be able to see that this game because the Ahri was banned away. I like the drafting adaptations coming through for both teams. Peak Performance not going to have that Nico, which I thought played really, really well for the OME squad. but the Olaf now being available gives LiT Esports Red another opportunity to go for that one, and I think it was to be expected.
Yeah, when you see LiT Esports not banned at this game, you must expect it to be coming in. Granted, that does mean that Paragax is going to get an opportunity to counterpick Nodal this game. But just speak on that Olaf pick real quick. It is a very nice counter to Melio Ash Pharrell. You can't get kicked back by the soccer ball. You can't get, arrowed. You can't get crashed down on. So when you have a bunch of really nice dive partners like Maokai, like Alistar, it's going to be really nice for this Olaf to go in. And realistically, you do not care about that Akali. Because Akali is going to want to dive the backline, and if she's diving the Karthus, it's fine. Karthus can die and just press E and deal with Akali in her shroud, and just press R when the Akali eventually kills her. And by that time, Olaf will have chunked your Ashe down so low that Karthus ulti will just finish the job. Renekton going to be the answer in that top side. Is a fairly decent matchup into the Olaf early. Does have the slice and dice to be able to make some distance if the Olaf does decide to go on them in the lane. But I'm curious because now we get to see where this Karthus goes. It could go mid, it could go bottom. I think it is a fairly decent matchup into the Akali because, like I said before, she'll go on you and you just be able to basically have the lay waste. Actually, that's another flex, and that's gonna sound weird saying this, but Ezreal is a flex pick here between mid and bot. I don't know where they prefer to play it, but it is a pick that can go mid. It is also fairly good into Akali with the Q being able to deal with the shroud and the non-targeted abilities. But either way, if you were making me guess again, I'd say Karthus is going mid and Ezreal's going bottom. But it's going to be a little bit more spicy this game with LiT. They have they have an interesting play style because OME sort of wants to dive the backline, and LiT's backline doesn't really care about getting dove because Ezreal's very safe. Karthus wants to die. And the other three can just pile on top of whichever target they choose. Most likely the Ashe.
And I feel like you're missing out a little bit on this wombo combo that you tried to build with the Melio Rel. Like, I don't know if you're going to get that same level of productiveness that you had the potential to have and showed off in game one with the slicing maelstrom on the Kennen, with the Pop Blossom coming in from the Nico. Now, yes, it was somewhat one-dimensional and there was some issues with coordination near the end stages of the game, but it still worked, right? I don't know how effective just the Ashe alone is going to be in being able to make sure that OME Storms gets the most value out of what is a very solid trio with the Melio, Ashe, and Rel. On the other hand, LiT Esports Red, the difference here is, I think the key factor that I think is going to be the difference is this very fun Karthus. I mean, Ezreal is still going to be able to perform. I expect them to be able to dominate, especially as we move into the mid game when LiT Esports can really start to come online. It is Ezreal mid though. It's Ezreal mid. You predicted it. You're smart. You know things.
I mean, I play this game too much, so I'd hope I'd pick up a few things. No, it's gonna be Ezreal mid. They will go static Shiv, and then they will build basically. I think it's gonna be static Shiv into Manamine into Triforce. I believe will be the build this game. I could be wrong, but that would be my guess. It is very nice into the Akali. You outrange, you can hit her in her shroud, so she is not really able to trade with you freely. Karthus is going to be bottom. I was thinking this when I was talking about it when the champion was locked in. I think Karthus Alistar is a much better matchup into Ashe Melio than playing Ezreal Alistar. I'm kind of excited to see this mid matchup. I don't think I've ever casted an Ezreal mid. I don't think I've ever dreamed of casting an Ezreal mid. And just looking at the way that LiT Esports is lining up, just looking at the damage split going, top to bottom, right? You have heavy AD top side, or you have heavy AD top laner, you have AP jungle, you have AD mid, you have AP bot lane. It is so nice because you have an AD and an AP on both sides of the map. It just makes me feel good. It means that OME is going to have a hard time, more or less, is what I'm trying to get across.
It's okay to say that a team outplayed the other in draft. And I think that, having first pick is good. you get the Milio, which is good, but it's up to then the team on the red side to draft something that the opponent would not predict. And the Ezreal, it's one of those spicy picks that makes Masters level play so strong, because there is so much that you can do with Ezreal and so many different ways that you can use just one ability. That Arcane Shift, you can use it offensively, you can use it defensively, you can use it to provide different ways of pressure for your team. And that's what I really look for in these 5v5 matchups and these team-oriented game is, how does your champion not only build pressure, but create advantages for the rest of your team to build pressure? It's not always about getting the kill. Sometimes it's just about providing that extra bit of damage to force someone to play safer, to force somebody to back, and to give you more uptime on the Rift that can make the difference between winning the early game, getting a gold advantage, getting that first Rift Herald or Dragon, and then start to really make those plays happen as we move in to the mid to late game. This is going to be a big test for both of these teams to show us what they can execute in the early game. I'm looking to see what Paragax is going to be able to do on this Renekton. It is a matchup that they should have an advantage in, especially in the first 3 to 4 levels. I want to see if they're able to create that pressure in the top lane to be able to make those things happen. And on LiT's side, the big X factor here, dead botting. How are they going to be able to create pressure with that Requiem to potentially create kills and to create that, that gold lead for their team?
I'm gonna make one last comment before I bring us to a break. Is that we want to talk about Paragax having a good game, but looking at the way the bot lane is set up for LiT Esports, I have a feeling that there's going to be Alistar in that top lane quite a lot this game. You don't really care about Karthus dying. In fact, if Karthus gets dove, it's fine because I can still catch the wave. So that's all I'm going to say for now. We'll see if it happens in game. But before we do, again, I do want to thank the sponsor of the Aegis Esports League for this summer split, Coachify.gg. Coachify is a commission-free esports coaching platform currently in the open beta. Become a coach today and track your students, inspire them to succeed, and turn your passion into a career. Click the panel located below the stream to check out their website for more information. With that said, PVS, take us to a break. We'll see you guys in a minute.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Aegis Marauders League. Game 2 is now underway, and I know the most entertaining and riveting part of the stream is the Dragon Soul predictions. We didn't get them in time in draft, so really quickly, I think that it's going to be either an Infernal Mountain or a Chemtech Soul. Meanwhile, Hextech, Ocean, and Cloud for Septi, as we do potentially get some damage here. Ruka's going to be very aggressive against King Clifford, but they will not go for any sort of Nature's Grasp. The Dragon's going to get hit by a volley, and it's just going to be some poke damage for both teams as we get ourselves started with game 2.
Yeah, I mean, pretty standard. It's kind of what you expect when you have an Olaf on one side. Very, very close with the undertow there. But Olaf, we're going to get a quick pause.
Let's go! First pause of the game! First pause of the AML! Woo!
Yeah, I think it has to do with the mid laner for the side of LiT. Yeah, okay. I'm just thinking. Yeah, I mean, looking at this matchup so far, we did see that Rook took the aftershock again this game. Interesting to note, actually. I know we're not on the league stream, league stream right now, but I could say that Paragax is tired of being in a losing matchup. They have opted for the press the attack and ignite on Renekton into the Olaf matchup. Paragax has had enough, and it's only been one game.
He's had enough, and he's had enough. No way. He's like, listen, I'm done. I'm gonna cook this game, and so that's why he went for the ignite. And we'll have to see if he's gonna eat or if he's gonna starve as we get ourselves started with this one. I want to also point out Deadbotting on the Karthus not going for any sort of first strike build, instead going for the Dark Harvest. So looking to potentially have that first damage.
And exhaust over teleport, as have no fear, this pause is completely normal. It happens. Is going to have that exhaust, which means that they're not going to be able to get back to the lane as quickly as one might expect. It also means that the side of OME is going to have teleport advantage in this game, as it is a somehow miraculous 1-0 in teleport score when it was 2-2 last game.
Yeah, it's a big difference, right? And it's a big and it changes the macros of games as well. And I kind of want to highlight on that. The change with the Unleashed teleport from 14 to 10 minutes gives the opportunity for the team with teleport advantage to potentially find a play earlier than expected. Do you think that that's going to be a factor with a champion like Akali? They're definitely going to be level 6 by that 10-minute mark.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I honestly think that teleport for Akali isn't really for the early game. It's more for when we break out into the lanes, as Nadal is already going to start doing what Olaf does, but the ignite might make a difference here.
Oh no! Nadal gets it! Oh! First blood for LiT Esports Red.
That is what we call Olaf diff. No, it is actually the perfect fight for Olaf. It's really unfortunate. I think Paragax did not quite realize what was in store for them when Nodal started fighting. I think maybe might have missed a step, may have missed an auto, because that Olaf should probably not have won considering the ignite advantage from the Renekton. But either way, very nicely well played from Nodal. Used the Olaf passive to perfection, as as it is, the lower health you get, the faster you attack. So when he was at 1 HP from that ignite, was able to get that one auto in with the flash. Paragax was not able to respond. Dang shame, Paragax does not have TP, because that ignite did nothing.
Unfortunate, and you get it for that, right? You were like, listen, I need to get this first blood. I need to deny any opportunity to get deny any opportunity for Nadal to get ahead, and it is absolute disaster for OME Storm. It's a complete disaster for Paragax, who now has to play the early game on the back foot. Look at the back. It's a cloth armor and a longsword advantage for Nadal.
Let's not even talk about the pushing wave as well. Let's not even talk about the wave bouncing away from Paragax. Look at that. That is going to spell death again, as Maokai is here. There's no flash on that Crocodile. Does actually land the slice. We'll have the dice available. He's gonna try to even find the trade. I don't know why I'm taking the play-by-play from you. I get excited. I get excited. I'm sorry.
You know what you're doing, though. You know what you're doing, and I'll take this one, though. Nadal is gonna get hit for the crash down. Rook's gonna be able to get away from the damage performance. What are you doing? Oh my God! It is a Cloud Fiesta.
It's not over. Oh, never mind. mind it is.
Okay, shutdown though. King Clifford will be able to get a kill, but that's still a advantageous play for the side of LiT Esports. Red, nice damage coming in onto your mom and Sky, but oof, rough start for OME Storm.
Someone needs to get peak performance of map, man. Where are you going? As I think, oh no, the stream did freeze a little bit. I thought it was just me for a second, but no, Rook just played that so well. Who says you can't have mechanics on Maokai? Hand stiff moment right there. But it was really unfortunate. I mean, the wave is again. I mean, the camera's not on top lane for now, but the wave again is super awful for Paragax. Nodal is going to be able to pick up a wave. The record does have a bit of an XP lead at the moment. But King Clifford being able to salvage a little bit of something from that play. And maybe it was just me, Moose, but the way that this top side has played out so far for the side of OME seems a little bit desperate. We had that, we had that random gank from Rel in the mid lane onto the Ezreal as Nodal again gonna find Paragax, who actually might bait this towards King Clifford.
Oh, gonna go for it. Gonna be able to get in. Gonna get stunned and will be the bait. Paragax will take a little bit more damage or take a little bit more gold into their coffers and will even out a little bit here. I still think that it is a gold advantage for Nodal, and unfortunate does lose out on a little bit of minions as well because Paragax was pushing that forward. So nicely played, nicely bluffed from the OME top laner.
Yeah, it's going to lose about a wave as well as potentially a bounce, although I think the wave might even out just in time for Nodal's wave to get there. No, the mid will get caught, so it will be a slow push back towards the Renekton. But the Dragon has been started for the side of LiT. Rook a little bit low there. Could get caught out as, again, we have a little mini pause. But the Vision Code is enough, actually, to scare LiT Esports away, despite bot lane not moving, despite mid lane not moving. They just didn't think they had enough to fight them there, which I guess is the safe option. Because honestly, in this game, for LiT, you have one job, and that's to, I mean, you have two jobs. It's to keep Nodal safe and allow him to bully this Renekton. But the second one is to allow the Ezreal and the Karthus to join the game in about 5 minutes time once they get their ultimates and once they are finished with their first item or so. But it looks to be a Sheen item first for GoPM. Either that or they're picking up components very early before going towards a Shiv. By the way, looking very nice. Both teams in a fairly decent spot. I think Paragax actually is in a better spot than it looks. Is only down around 500 gold. I say only, it's 6 minutes into the game. So 500 is quite a bit in that topside matchup. And it will amount to a finished, it will amount to a finished Hearthbound Axe for the Olaf, compared to a couple of swords that Paragax is going to try and fight the Olaf with. Other than that, pretty standard so far. Rel doing some ganking. Is just going to try and find their way back towards topside.
A little bit of a difference, though, in how King Clifford has been able to execute in this game. Yet they did get that first shutdown, which is definitely good to be able to pick up that Bomby Cinder. But this time, it's not like a 700 gold disadvantage for Rook as they had in game one. Did get taken out early in that gank top lane. It feels like this game, in the early game at least, the early game it feels like has been won or lost in the top lane for both of these teams here in both of these games. Potential gank on to GoPM, but with the Essence Slugs, going to be able to deal a lot of damage on the peak performance. 48 stacks on that Tear of the Goddess as well. We're definitely looking to see how fast GoPM is going to be able to get to that 2-item power spike with that Tear of the Goddess, because once they do, the saying goes that he's the king of the rift for a good amount of time while he has those 2 items and that advantage.
Yeah, I mean, just look at this mid lane matchup. Peak performance is just not allowed to play the game with the range advantage that the Ezreal has, and King Clifford trying very desperately to make things happen. Might actually even get spotted by the Hawk shot going towards topside. Nodal a little bit too late with that ward. Is going to get actually engaged on Flash coming out.
That's going to come through. Ragnarok gets popped, but he's going to lose it fairly quickly, and that's both summoner spells down. GoPM is going to flash as well. Afraid of something? As the Requiem will drop! Boom! Dead
Afraid
botting.
of getting their kill stolen by dead botting. That's what it is.
I see.
But
all makes sense now.
Yeah, exactly, right? GoPM got a quad last game, wants to build towards a penta this game. Rook gonna spot out the sneaky Herald start, but when you don't have a mid laner, it's not really allowed.
Uh-oh, and now the real question is, does Deadbotting get an assist here? Nice flash, he doesn't get an assist. King Clifford will survive, but that's not going to be an opportunity for the side of OME Storm to get either neutral objective to start things off. At the 9-minute mark, getting both a Dragon and the Rift Herald is a big advantage for the team that gets it.
Yeah, for the team that wants to scale, I don't think you could have asked for anything more than that. And honestly, it's a little unfortunate GoPM didn't get the kill, but it's just slightly less flashy. But you still achieved the goal of collecting the Rift Herald and Paragax. I'm sorry, it is your time.
Yep, for the first time in this game, top lane will be ganked by Living Phoenix, who will come through, will be able to pick up a little bit of that damage, and the axe will be enough. Paragax will go down, and Nadal will pick up their 3rd kill of the game. You predicted that Living Phoenix was going to be spending some time in the top lane. He definitely did.
Yeah, I mean, any Alistar worth their salt will decide to leave lane at some point, as I believe the game wants us to focus a little bit on that Ash arrow too much. It was nice consideration, you know, landing a cross-map arrow. But, I mean, ultimately, we're in a really nice spot if you're lit. It seems that they, you know, are in stride after that first game. They had a couple whoopsies trying to collect themselves in that game, but now it seems as though they are on the same page. They're all working together towards this goal of beating the Olaf, who is going to get so much gold from this play on top side. Rella's up there and might actually look for a play. The matters of will they show before Maokai backs.
Oh, no way. What are they doing? Ragnarok is going to get popped. Magnet Storm will do nothing to an Olaf in Ragnarok. Rook does not care. And LiT Esports Red will say thank you for the extra gold. 2 more kills. 1 for Rook, 1 for Nadal.
Yeah, a little scary there for Nadal, but Olaf things yet again. But no, I mean, King Clifford, I think, is at the point of the game where they're feeling fairly desperate to make things happen. You can't really, it doesn't really get you a lot of value to gank the bot lane. So really your only option is to try and salvage top or mid. Karthus, I mean, you gank bot lane, you dive a tower, dead botting is going to collect the wave, is already up 8 CS again on this Ashe despite being 1v2. For a fair portion of this game, Danger Ping is going immediately onto King Clifford's head as well. So excellent tracking coming out from the side of LiT Esports. And I want to do another gold check-in because I looked before at 6 minutes when it was 500 gold in favor of Olaf. It is 11 minutes now, and the gold lead is 2,300.
And it's about
Paragax
to get even more. Paragax is not long for this world. Is now up to 26, and unfortunately, at 1 in 5, you are worth just above the price of a cannon minion. So I mean, that's something for them. But at 11 minutes. No objective bounties can be put on just yet, but you gotta feel like they're going to be coming on here very shortly. Yeah,
probably as soon as they are available, they'll be going in favor of this OME side. Rook, I don't think cares about getting spotted here. TP coming in, arrow landing.
Yeah, dead botting, maybe gonna be in trouble here. Nature's Grasp, nice. Nature's Grasp gonna be hit on 3 members. The ult from Your Mama's Sky is late, and Rook will be able to get out of that one. No real response. Teleport consumed, and LiT Esports doesn't lose anybody in the play.
I keep using this word, but you can just tell how desperate OME is to try and make something stick on this map. They lost top lane. Bot lane is not being able to create any advantage because this Karthus has been farming so well. And mid lane as well, just getting constantly pushed out of lane. GoPM doing such a nice job, has the Essence Reaver, as well as this infinite influx of mana coming in from that Sheen ability. Just gonna keep peak performance under their tower. They had one opportunity with that teleport play to make something happen on the map, and it just falls short. GoPM is never gonna die here. Has the Arcane Shift available. And this is just a game where you're King Clifford and you're thinking, all right, well, where do I go? If I go top, we get 1v2'd. If I go mid, he runs away. If I go bottom, they don't care. We trade gold. As well as if I go bottom, somewhere else loses because I'm not there. So it is a really, really lose-lose situation for the OME jungler. And they're losing even more with the Mountain Dragon going down. But we will see in just a minute who wins the round 2 of this dragon. Please give me Hextech. It is Chemtech.
Let's go! I
Shoot.
stole it away from you.
Actually, is it or is it just bug?
Oh,
No, it's actually
it's Chemtech, but we are going to get a play here. Magus going to get it dropped on GoPM, but it's actually just an initiation for LiT Esports. Red King Clifford is going to get stunned, gonna be taken out of the fight. Deadbody will pick up their second Dark Harvest stack and potentially another turret plate here in the mid lane.
And it's not being shown on screen, but I feel like Nodal is just going to die of consideration in the spot side once they get close enough. Maybe not. Maybe not. Oh, nope, it is happening.
Okay, coming through. Your mom's Sky is just taken off the face of the earth. Going to be sent to the Shadow Realm. Nadal is low. Nadal gets shut down. So it is, at the end of the day, a 1-for-1. And all that money going to go over to consideration. They desperately need it, but the plays are not done yet. Nature's Grasp still going to land on a Paragax. That is a really feels bad man moment. And an easy kill for GoPM, going to be able to pick up the 11th for LiT Esports Red.
And even though the bot play went I say favorably, technically you got more gold into the Ashes pocket by getting that shutdown onto the Olaf. But in the end, the other side of the map just lost out because top gets killed, loses pressure. Mid loses tower because of bad base timings. And GoPM might be in trouble, does have flash available.
I think that they are gonna go down here. It looks like it is gonna be the case shutdown, and it really doesn't even feel that exciting, right? Yeah, it's an overextension coming through from GoPM, but it just puts a dent in the monumental gold advantage. A 4,000 gold lead at the 14-minute mark is well over 10% of the total gold in the game. It's not even just a little over, it's well over, as the objective bounties have now spawned. Rift Herald is worth 500 at this point. You can see the members of OME Storm trying to be able to get it here. They might have a chance to do it, but GoPM is up and maybe could drop that True Shot Barrage to make a play happen.
I was gonna say, that death there from GoPM is absolutely gonna be a review point for LiT Esports. Yes, it is, sort of just an overextension and a pick out, but that's the type of thing that allows the lead to slip. And while it is 6,000 gold currently in favor, or rather, what is it, 5.5 in favor of LiT Esports, that's the type of play that can slow down a game to the point where it becomes a lot harder to close out, because you give up a Rift Herald, you give up the gold, as well as the pressure that the Rift Herald would have been able to create for your team had you not died. And so it gets to a point where, in this game, it might be a little bit hard considering OME's champions are going to kind of fall off the map in 4 minutes time. Especially this Renekton, who was never on the map to begin with. But in a game where, enemy team has maybe a Kog'Maw, maybe, a Victor that is just waiting and trying to get to their scaling points, that's a mistake that can cost you. But for now, I think they're going to be okay. It's Herald that probably won't get used by King Clifford very effectively. GoPM is going to get caught out slightly. King Clifford flashing. Ooh.
Oh, nice flash. Nice hands coming in from GoPM. Able to use the flash and arcane shift effectively here. Nadal is on the hunt. Could try to make something happen as Rook is going to go for the Nature's Grasp. Is ready to maybe go for the flank. Rook is going to be taking a lot of damage. Peak performance. Trying to be able to make something happen. Gonna get the Rook though, and Rook is going to get shut down. That's some big gold going in for peak performance, but King Clifford is going to die to make it a 1-for-1. There's the Requiem. Not quite enough to take down the Akali, but will be able to be another Dark Harvest stack for dead botting. 1-for-1, both junglers go down, but it's advantage for the side of LiT Esports as they now get to take this inner tower.
It's 1-for-1, but it's in such a good spot for LiT. They're going to be able to knock down at least one tower, potentially even two. But the fact that LiT does not have any teleports available means that Paragax is going to be able to find a objective bounty in that tower. So an extra 250 split amongst the OME members means that they'll just be a little bit closer to potentially being able to fight this dragon. Or maybe not this dragon, but, when the soul pops up or when Baron pops up. But for now, it seems the LiT is going to take their leave, as this dragon is going to spawn in about 30 seconds. So basing about now will get them on the map just in time to get the dragon. But honestly, this is exactly what you want for OME. You have found a timing where some of the members of LiT are off the map, so you will actually be able to potentially use this Herald to find at least a charge onto the mid tower. So even though it's full HP, it will mean that you'll have to do that much less work later on into the game to potentially knock that tower down. And I'm saying that the eye is not going to get hit. The damage will go down. And now, because of that Herald, you have first move into this river.
See if they're able to do it. Nadal just goes straight in. Still has Ragnarok available. Will deal a little bit of that be hit by a little bit of that poke damage. Mom and Sky, gotta be careful. You get hit by one of those axes, you get slowed, you might just go down. And Living Phoenix is gonna be the target of that twisted advance. Nine Storm's gonna come in. Ragnarok gets up, and King Clifford goes down. Nadal's gonna be able to pick up one. Peak Performance will pick up one against Living Phoenix. Living Phoenix will fall. Nadal is still going in. Consideration is low. Consideration dies, and now that's your damage gone. Your Mom in Sky trying to be able to get out of that one, will be able to pop a nice blast cone to do so. But on the other side of this fight, GoPM picking up another to make it 4-1 in favor of LiT Esports Red.
Yeah, so much confidence coming out from the LiT Esports Red team there. Just being able to find such a nice fight for themselves. Honestly, OME is to the point where they can't really even step into River, because once you do, you're forced to be sort of in a position where LiT was in last game, where if you want to contest a dragon, right, you have to put yourself in a specific spot and you have to stay there in order to get the job done. And if you're standing there, that means, you know, you can get hit by mystic shots, by late wastes, by saplings as well. And so as a result, you're just, you know, getting yourself chunked down more and more to the point where you're low enough that LiT Esports can just pull the trigger without having any risk to themselves. And your Mama Sky is just going to go down after not respecting GoPM there. The Empowered Blast Cone.
The power of that pressure. Consideration might get 1v2'd here. No, we'll be able to take down GoPM. Consideration comes in, but it actually still ends up being a 2-for-1 in favor of LiT Esports. Dead Botting is going to pop that Requiem and say, hey, thanks for the extra 300.
Yeah, and Dead Botting now 4-0 currently. Paragax forced to use Flash, even though they do have their teammates.
Will they do it? Nadal trying to take down Paragax. Will be able to get it. No assist for Dead Botting, but now the rest of LiT Esports gonna go towards Baron, down to 5,000 HP. Those Skittles dealing a ton of damage here, Septi, and it is gonna be 4 members potentially of LiT Esports going for a purple. Living Phoenix, nice headbutt, take King Clifford out of the fight. They're now gonna try to go in and maybe even get some kills out of this. Teleport's gonna come through from Peak Performance. Will they be able to get here in time? King Clifford is low. The Nature's Grasp, not effective this time. And now Rook and Dead Botting are gonna be in trouble. Dead Botting will die, maybe, without mana. The flash fails. Will be the sacrificial lamb. Will actually go golden here, utilizing the stopwatch. Will end up going down, but it is going to be a 1-for-1. The True Shot Barrage will take down your Mom and Sky. That's 3 members of the OME squad dead. And somehow the wallet is just too big for LiT Esports. They will take the fight that they did not have any right to win, and will turn it into an ace.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, it's kind of just a wallet difference at this point. It looked potentially good for the side of OME for a little bit of time, but then Nodal and GoPM showed up, and then it just went back to being a completely one-sided affair for the likes of LiT Esports Red. And it was a little unfortunate because we saw Dead Botting in a very bad spot. Did use their stopwatch to successfully bait the members of OME close enough to the Karthus where once they died immediately afterwards, they were able to use their E ability, their Defile, to get so much damage onto the members that were, you know, trying so hard to secure that kill onto the Karthus. You know, we talked about mechanics trying to be on point. We still have fail flashes every now and then, a fumble, but I feel like, you know, after the fact that LiT.
Okay, Living Phoenix will say thanks.
Okay, well, that's a freebie right there. But when LiT is doing so well, you know, we gotta hold them to higher standards. You know, gotta have some positive points, some negative points. You know, something to improve on. Flash is being one of them for Dead Body in this game, unfortunately.
So I gotta call you out though. I gotta call you out though. You predicted the Ezreal was gonna go Triforce third.
I was wrong.
Goes to the Navori Quick Blades. So
yeah,
we can talk about that if we have time. If the Sun's gonna come in on a Nodal, Ragnarok is still available. Nice supporting coming in from the Mom and Sky, gonna be able to get that nice multi-man buff. But the Nature's Grasp is gonna be able to come through. It's gonna be a lot of damage on the Peak Performance as Rook is gonna be that frontline consideration. No chance of getting out of that act. And that's Nadal being able to pick up another one, now 11-4. The Baron buff still up for another 22 seconds. Nadal doesn't even need it. Look at him sieging towards that bottom tier 3 tower. It's destroyed, it's gone. And it just feels like LiT Esports looking to close out this game.
Looking a lot like last game, just, 7 minutes faster.
Does feel like it, as we are gonna get the Ragnarok now pop. Nadal is gonna be low-ish, but oh my god! Oh, this Derax gauge shield is big, and Ragnarok will be popped to finish the job. Peak Performance will go golden to just look cool, and the final ace of this series will be completed. Actually not, it is an ace. Will they get another one? Consideration will go down. It is another ace for LiT Esports, and they will take this series 2-0 and will secure their first win in the AML.
Yeah, it took them a game to get on top of their team play together. But after that first game, they were absolutely chilling. They looked so good and so well composed in the second game that honestly, they looked pretty strong. I know we had a couple blunders here and there, but they looked pretty good in that last game. Definitely had a bunch of unique picks that teams in the future will have to be wary of. That Ezreal mid lane as well, dishing out so much damage. But ultimately, I really like the way that they, constructed this draft. Karthus, doing a whole lot of damage, being able to just farm it out and be completely, independent when they're focusing so many resources into that Olaf. But as a result, I mean, LiT doing a really nice job, showing up really strong in this first week of the Marauders League, and it's just looking nice. I'm excited. If this is the first week, look forward to what we have more of.
It is going to be a really fun season. I can tell already. I mean, we got to see a banger and we got to see a stomp. We got to see both sides of the coin in one series to start things off this season. And, quietly, GoPM having a really strong performance here on this Ezreal. 30k damage at the 24-minute mark is insane. That's over 1,000 damage minutes, FD. I can do math. And I love the, the confidence that LiT Esports went in with. I loved the, last second Ezreal pick coming through to make it very difficult for OME to come in and make those plays happen. You do wonder in these situations, had OME Storm had their mid laner that they're going to have for the entirety of the season, had this game gone differently. We don't live in that timeline, and you can't turn back time at this point. So this is going to be a nice win here for the side of LiT Esports. They'll go up 1-0. We don't have any further results yet of the rest of the league. We'll get them later on. You guys will see them in next week's report. But we're going to see if we're going to get an interview here really quick. We did ask Nadal if they wanted to do one. So we'll get that answer and then we'll go from there. But any final thoughts or suggestions for OME Storm or for LiT Esports Red that you want to hark on before we get into that?
I think going into draft, you had a really solid idea. I think you picked, 3 of the top champions on the patch, with that Ashrel and Milio. I think you maybe thought a little too much in that second phase about, countering, as opposed to just playing to your style, which would have been, team fighting and looking to scale with your Ashe. Because at that point, you have Rel, right? You have Rel, Maokai. You're not really worried about losing your jungle too much. The Rel is going to do their job. So you may as well pick champions on 4 or 5 that will also do their job. Something maybe like an Ornn, maybe like a Malphite that, could potentially do a little bit more to Olaf. I guess Malphite maybe not, because Olaf just has Ragnarok. But either way, just looking for maybe something that could give you the scaling edge. Because you have, that's basically all you have to do, right? You have to go to your 4-5 and think about how you can get an edge in this game. I guess in this game, they thought that they could find an edge with a Renekton with early damage, as well as an Akali that could potentially threaten whatever, I guess, Karthus they thought was going to be mid lane. Yeah, I think just if going into next week, maybe doing a little bit more draft evaluating for what will win you the game consistently, right? Because picking Renekton and Akali can win sometimes if you're just better, but maybe consistency is maybe the goal there. But before we ramble on about what OME could have, should have, would have done, we have a wonderful person here, which I believe is dead botting, not Nadal. What's
It
up?
is Deadbotting. What's up, man? Yeah, congratulations on the win. Love to see you here in the AML. We're just gonna ask you a couple questions about the team's performance, about your performance. And the first one that I want to ask on, and I think everyone's mind was, did you come into this series saying, I have to pick Karthus? It's my favorite champion. All I want to do is play Karthus every single game, and I have to play it at least once in the series.
Um, no, I don't
Oh.
think I plan on playing Karthus at all. Actually, we were just like, I can play like mostly whatever. So Karthus was looking good, so I picked Karthus. I don't know. There wasn't really any like preference for it or anything like that, but
Unfortunate. Unfortunate. I thought you were a
fun
Karthus
champ.
enjoyer.
Very fun. No, I am a Karthus enjoyer. It's very fun. But
I mean, I
very
feel
fun.
like your name is in somehow in service of Karthus, but regardless, moving on to the next question. I kind of wanted to see, because in that first game, you guys looked a little bit shaky in terms of your coordination, but really solidified yourselves in game two. How long has this roster been together? How long have you guys been practicing in preparation for this tournament?
We literally just put this roster together like 2 weeks ago, and we weren't able to scrim the first week, like people's schedules and stuff. And like last week was our first week scrimming. We only scrimmed one day, and we're only usually scrimming 1 day a week because of people's schedules. So game one's kind of just like game one warm-up game.
Yeah.
Kind of have to like get everybody like warmed up and stuff. But that's kind of where like I attribute that to.
Yeah.
We started like kind of slow, but we got ramped up pretty quick.
Yeah, well, it looks like you guys definitely ramped up in game two. It was quite a bit more clean.
A little bit.
Definitely was. Oh, you got fans. You have fans in not only the chat but also in the admins portion. You have a lot of people that enjoy your presence. Is there it sounds to me then you are somebody that is pretty comfortable in tournament settings, in the competitive scene. In your view, what makes a great Masters level player? What makes a great team player to succeed?
I mean, just like really about like teamwork and being able to like play new stuff and like learn new champs and stuff. I think that's like the biggest thing in like competitive. But I mean, we've been in a few tournaments before. We had the same roster except for top lane last CCS, RIP CCS. Yeah, we had the same roster except for top lane and CCS. We were switching the jungle around a lot because of like scheduling issues and stuff like that. So it's good to like finally have a stable roster that we're able to like scrim at least once a week and dominate. So we made it pretty far last CCS. We were out in the quarterfinals in a 5-game series against Dorado, but we should have won that, to be honest. We threw a 10k gold lead, kind of unlucky. But next week when we play Dorado, it's going to be a different story. We're going to 2-0 them very quick fashion.
Well,
we're talking 15-minute FFs here.
Well, you kind of answered my question, but I mean, speaking about Dorado and other teams in this league so far, is there anyone that, besides I guess Dorado, because you've already stated that, but is there anyone that you are really looking forward to playing against in this tournament? I know you are lucky enough to be slotted into Dorado Gaming's group, maybe looking for some revenge there, but are there any specific players, any rivalries that you are looking forward to setting straight?
Yeah, I mean, it's always fun to beat Dorado, honestly. I was kind of glad we got this group. It's kind of free. Like I said in general before, group's kind of looking free. This game, we kind of were the favorites, but I mean, their jungler's pretty good. I don't know like any of the other players in the game we just played, in the series we just played, but their jungler's pretty good. He jungled for us like part-time in CCS, so yeah. I don't really know any of the other teams. I know Dorado, and About
Fair
it.
enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, I think TA is gonna be fun to beat. We play them the week after Dorado. Or I think I haven't really looked at the schedule that deep, but yeah, they're gonna be fun to beat too. So we'll be 6-0 after week 3. We stream another one of our games. Let's go 8-0. I don't know.
Hey, mark that down. Mark that down.
You can quote that, clip it, ship it.
What?
You know,
LiT Esports Red 6-0 by week 7.
real.
I am marking it down. I am marking it down. A quote unquote dead body saying
By week 3. By week 3.
By week 3. By week 3, 3-0, the whole season.
3-0, 3-0, 6-0 by week 3.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. I expect it. We're gonna hold you to that.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Any final shout outs that you want to give before we let you go?
I just want to shout out my team. Obviously, like we put this roster together like last minute, and like all of our like coaching and all that stuff like that. Our coach has been really good. What the fuck is going on in Twitch chat right now?
I was hoping you weren't looking, but
Yeah, I was too, but
Okay. Yeah, just shout out my team. They're like pretty fun team to play on. Shout out the boys, shout out the casters, you know. Shout out Flay, you know what I'm saying? Shout out Lowbacks, #1 fan of LiT. He loves LiT. And
I'm done. I'm done. Get me out of here. I'm a celebrity.
you're a celebrity, are you now? All right. Well, either way, Dead Body, thank you so much for the interview, and thank you everyone for stopping by the Aegis Marauders League Week 1 matchup in the Void Division between LiT Esports Red and OME Storm. I have been Septi alongside my wonderful play-by-play Moose, as well as our fantastic production in PVS or Peeves. PVS? PVS. Thank you, PVS. I'll get that right next week. But if you enjoyed this content, please stick around. We have a bunch of other things coming up on the Aegis Esports GG mainstream. On Thursday, we have Nameless Echo, my team, versus Dorado Gaming Epsilon. And on Friday, we have Pack Watch versus Primal Instinct Black in the ACL Week 7, as well as, I believe, maybe on a different team, on Aegis Esports GG3, we're going to have Dynasty Ruby versus Bing Chillers Clear Comms for the AGL Week 1 matchup. So again, you like AML content? I'm sure you'll like the rest of it. We got some great personalities on the broadcast, so stick around, come on back, say hi, and stick around for the season. We look forward to seeing you in the future. With that said, thank you very much and have a good evening.
there, guys.